Ah, welcome back to the laboratory, dear friends. Tonight, a mystery. And the Society must warn you at the outset, every case in our files ends with the satisfying click of a closing folder. Every case, except this one. It is the evening of November 22nd, 1987, in Chicago. On television, the 9 o'clock sports report is humming along when the screen stutters and the sportscaster vanishes. In his place, for 28 silent seconds, a figure in a grinning rubber mask twitching against a spinning metal background. No demands, no explanation. And then the sportscaster returns, baffled, to a city wondering what on earth it just watched. 2 hours later, across town, it happens again, on a different station, and this time the mask speaks. I am the magnanimous Dr. Warthan, and this is the Broken Machine Society. Case file number 5, The Man in the Mask. If you enjoy unsolved mischief, do tap that like button. Gently. The Society dusts it for fingerprints weekly. Now, regular members will remember our third case file, the salesman who outshouted HBO through a satellite. After Captain Midnight, the great uplink dishes of America were guarded like bank vaults, locks on the doors, logs on the transmitters, signatures woven into the signals. The industry had, it believed, learned its lesson. But, dear friends, security is a chain, and a chain has as many links as the engineers were willing to count, and nearly everyone had forgotten one. Here is the link they forgot. A television station's studio, where the anchors sit, is rarely in the same place as its transmitter, which wants to live somewhere tall. In Chicago, that meant the tops of the great towers. And how does the picture travel from the studio to the tower? By a private little microwave beam fired across the city, rooftop to rooftop, the studio to transmitter link, the last unguarded mile. The satellite uplinks had locks, the tower had fences, but that slender beam across the night sky, that, dear friends, was as naked as the day it was engineered. Anyone standing in the right place, with the right dish aimed at the tower's receiving antenna, could play the captain's old trick on a local scale: shout louder, and the tower repeats you. Speaking of communications, I am told it is time for a brief word from tonight's sponsor. I have no sponsor. Applications remain open. Now, where were we? Ah yes, 9:14 in the evening. The city's biggest station, its towering antenna high above the streets, suddenly airs that silent, grinning mask. In the master control room, engineers lunge for their consoles. They cannot find the intruder, so they do the only thing left. They change the frequency of their own studio link mid-broadcast and snatch their channel back. 28 seconds. The intruder never returns to that station. A professional response, dear friends, and a very lucky one, because at 15 minutes past 11, the mask finds a softer target, the public television station in the middle of a British science fiction serial. And this time, there is audio. For 90 seconds, the grinning figure sways and cackles through a warped, distorted voice, mocking a local sportscaster, humming the theme of an old cartoon, rambling half-jokes in a broken sing-song, while an accomplice, in one of the strangest images ever broadcast, swats at him. It is absurd. It is unsettling. It is, by every account of everyone watching, deeply and permanently strange. And here is the detail the Society savors. The public station's engineers could do nothing. Their transmitter sat at the top of the tallest building in America, and its link receiver listened obediently to the loudest voice it could hear. The staff watched their own channel wander off without them. Then, as suddenly as he came, the mask was gone. The hunt began at sunrise. Federal investigators, broadcast engineers, angry executives. The physics narrowed things as physics does. The intruder needed real equipment, a transmitter and dish with enough power to outshout a licensed studio link, and needed line of sight to the tower's receiving antenna, which meant a rooftop or a high window in a particular slice of the city. The gear could fit in a van. Detectives canvassed, engineers calculated angles. Tips arrived, were chased, and evaporated. The mask spoke like someone who knew broadcast people, perhaps a bitter insider, perhaps a gifted amateur from the fringes of the industry. Every road bent back into fog. And this, dear friends, is where our usual rhythm breaks. There is no punchline. There is no courtroom, no fine, no unmasking. Analog signals leave no logs. A microwave beam crosses the night and is gone. It keeps no diary, and by morning, the sky over Chicago was as empty of evidence as it had ever been. The decades since have produced theories, deathbed rumors, and internet detectives circling old suspects, and not one provable name. The Max Headroom incident, as the world came to call it, remains the most famous unsolved crime in the history of broadcasting. But the legacy is real, and you live in it. The forgotten link was forgotten no longer. Stations scrambled and encrypted their studio-to-tower beams, and the Naked Mile got its armor at last. Regulators, who had already sharpened the law for the captain, now had their second exhibit for why. And somewhere in all of it sits tonight's peculiar poetry. The mask itself was borrowed from a fictional television host, a satirical, stuttering, artificial personality, a broken machine pretending to be a man. Someone wore the face of a broken machine to break into the machines, and the machines, honest to the last, simply repeated the loudest voice, exactly as built. Some flaws we patch, dear friends, and some just put on a mask and wait. And here is tonight's lesson, so listen closely. Security dies wherever attention ends. The industry guarded the front door because the captain had walked through it, and left the side window open because no one famous had climbed through it yet. Machines do not know which of their doors matter. They guard precisely what they are told to guard, and not 1 inch more. And so, for the first time in the Society's records, we close the folder without closing the case. Case open. If you happen to know an old broadcast engineer with a suspiciously good story and a van he never explained, the Society's contact information is below. Next time, before the Society, an August afternoon in 2003, when the lights went out from Detroit to New York City. 50 million people in the dark because of a software bug, an alarm that never rang, and several very ordinary trees. Stay curious, count your doors, and mind the Naked Mile. The Society is adjourned.